7. With that being said though, his birthplace, Kanto, Pokemon Red and Blue, fine, but it shouldn't take you to the point of where you battle Erica. So it's Thunderbolt right after you defeat Lieutenant Surge. Pikachu and its evolution, plus early Thunderbolt are looking crucial attacker, and I think it will perform all right in its generations. Let's start around. Lorelai's water types, Agathis Golbat, Lance's dragons, more or less the same thing, except for some Mons on Blue's team that are different. He can also have the Vaporeon on his team. To the Kanto, I will approve of. Don't get me wrong, Jolteon is much better here, especially in Generation 1. But Raichu isn't horrible, but I will say it does get outclassed by Jolteon. Raichu only scores approval here because of its accessible post-game in Pokemon Gold and Silver. However, in Pokemon Crystal, Pichu can be found in the Odd Egg, which can be given to the player from the daycare man right before Boulder Run City. For the sake of convenience, let's just go off of Pokemon Crystal. However, if you want to use Raichu in Gold and Silver, Raichu will perform the exact same in Crystal after you get access to Kanto. So the unfortunate part for Pichu is that in order for it to evolve into Pikachu, it has to be through friendship. So you're going to have to do a lot of switch training, or you're going to have to run around for hours. Generation 2, however, did want us with haircuts, so that can help out majorly. Once you get a Pikachu, the earliest time you get access to the Thunderstone is by getting a certain trainer's number and getting it gifted to you. The name of this trainer is Last Dana, and she is on Rep 38 right outside of Eckertig City. Once you defeat her, get her number. From there, wait for her to call you to give you your Thunderstone gift. Raichu can be obtained as early as before battle in the morning. With all these factors in mind, this actually makes Raichu the best electric Pokemon to have Pokemon Crystal. Remember that in Pokemon Crystal, Mareep can't be obtained, so this inevitably makes Raichu the best. What about Jolteon? Isn't it pretty good too? Yeah, it is, but the problem is your EV is level 20 when you get it from Bill. That means it doesn't have Thunder Shock. Oh, and if that doesn't make matters worse, there's also no mover limit. You could theoretically lay an egg of an EV and evolve to level 17, but that's just way too tedious, and you'll also only have Thunder Shock until post-game. Pikachu, on the other hand, can run Thunderbolt at level 26, which is insane. That's a 90 base power attack that early. Once Pikachu owns Thunderbolt, I would say that is the best time to evolve. So I think I pretty much made great points as to why Raichu is the best electric type in Pokemon Crystal. Chuck's Poliwrath, Price's Water type, Will Xatu and Slowbro, Koga's Crobat, Karen's Murkrow, Lance's Teamoseph and Dragonite, and Sloka's Golbat and Froggator, depending on if you show Cyndaquil. For Kanto, it can defeat Brock's Omastar and Kabutops, Misty's Teamoseph and Quagsire, Janine's Crobat, Blue's Gyarados, and Red's Charizard and Blastoise. Generation 2's verdict is super easy. My answer is an obvious yes. And yes, it is also better than Electabuzz. It has decent early accessibility, and it can run with a level 26 being Thunderbolt as well. Raichu is the best electric type Pokemon you can get in Generation 2, in my opinion. In Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, it really made one of the first problems for Raichu, and that is the fact Raichu won't be accessible until the Hoenn Safari Zone, which is after known as the 6th Gym Limiter. Once Raichu is obtained, we're left with Tame Liza, Blasted Team Aqua and Magma, Wallace or Flying, and then finally the Elite Four and Steven or Wallace. So just from that, we can see that Raichu won't have a lot of battles to help him. However, out of the battles we have left in the game, Raichu can help with Archie's Crobat and Torpedo, Maxie's Crobat, Wallace's team except for Whiscash, Juan's team and Emerald except for Whiscash, Sydney's Torpedo, Quincy's Celio and Walrein, Steven's Skarmory, and Wallace's entire champion team except for his Whiscash again, of course. For being so late in the game, Raichu most certainly has a lot of useful matchups. The issue is how late Pikachu is obtainable. That is one thing, and then we can also take notice of how Electrike is available just outside of Sleeport City, which gives you Manectric much earlier. And Manectric honestly does a much better job at home as well. So for my final verdict in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, Raichu will not get my approval. Returning back to Kanto in Pokemon Fire Red and Green, we can find Pikachu in Viridian Forest. The biggest change for Raichu in the remakes compared to the originals is that in Lieutenant Surge's gym, he will not give you Thunderbolt. In its place, Surge will actually give you Shockwave. That is still a useful move, but obviously it isn't Thunderbolt. You either have to grind the cell down game corner or wait for Pikachu to reach level 26, and that is not a long time to wait for such a powerful move. Pikachu and Raichu will be useful, just like in the original, against Misty's team, the Birthkeeper scattered around the region, Lorelai's team except for Jinx, Agathis Golbat, Lance's Aerodactyl and Gyarados, and Blue's Pidgeot, Charizard, Gyarados, and Blastoise, depending on what your starter was. Not a whole lot of changes for Raichu between Generation 1 Kanto and Generation 3 Kanto. It's still the same region, and the selection of Pokemon are still limited to the original 1-2 ones from Kanto. So I have to give Raichu the approval here, too.
I'm not losing my city to the delusions of some second-rate king.
Moving on from the Kanto remakes, we make way for the first Pokemon games on the Nintendo DS, Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. We can find Pikachu as early as Route 12 beneath Heartloop City in the Trophy Guards, and thanks to the Explorer kit, you can dig until you find a Thunderstone in the underground. That means in Pokemon Platinum, you can have Raichu by the 4th gym, which is just perfect because that means Raichu will be available for Crash Awaken onwards. It's not as early as the other games, but still early enough to show some promise. Now let's see what battles Raichu will develop. Like stated before, Raichu will have a Crash Awake's team except for Quagsire, Pidgeot's Drifloon and Diamond and Pearl, Voltor's Octillery, Cyrus' team except for Weavile, Aaron's Vespiquen and Beautifly, Rover's Quagsire, Whiscash and Golem with Grass Knot, Flint's Drifloon, and Cynthia's Milotic Pink Astronaut. As you can clearly see, Raichu doesn't have a lot of good matchups in Generation 4. Platinum does not improve on Raichu's matchups, and Luxray is a really good early option with more value in my opinion. Due to these factors, I will not approve of Raichu's decision. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Pikachu and Raichu are not available until the Kanto section of the game, being fed in Green Forest. For starters, that takes away the one advantage we've established for Raichu, being a very accessible electric type in an early game. However, that's not to say that Raichu can't help with the Kanto section of the game. It just doesn't look very good when Raichu is technically not available until the post-game. That aside, Raichu will be able to help you with the same trainers from the Kanto section of the Gold, Silver, and Crystal section, but Red now has a Lapras instead of a Espeon, which makes Raichu a bit better against Red. For Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I will not approve of Raichu due to it being a Kanto section post-game encounter. And for what remains of the game, it doesn't give us what we need. Ampharos is a much better option and is accessible much earlier. So it turns out, Game Freak didn't want players to have access to Raichu or its evolutionary line in Generation 5. So from here, we'll just jump straight forward to Kalos in Generation 6. From here, we can find Pikachu as early as Santolan Forest for Route 3. This means that Pikachu and by extension Raichu will be able to Surskit and Vivillon will go down easy thanks to those secondary typings of Water with Surskit and Flying from Vivillon. After Viola, we have Grant with rock types, where Pikachu unfortunately doesn't help much. After Grant, we reach Route 10, which is just outside of Geosyn's town to pick up the very important Thunderstone to evolve Pikachu. However, we need Pikachu to reach level 29 before using it, so Raichu can have access to Thunderbolt. From this point in the game, Raichu will help us upgrade his Hawlucha, Olympia's Sigilus, and Slowking, Wolfric's Avalon due to its poor special defense stat, Serena or Kale's Vaporeon or Greninja, depending on if his starter is Trophy or Chespin, Tierno's entire team except for Rosemary, Trevor's Aerodactyl, Lysander's Honchkrow and Megarios, Sneebolt's entire team, Malvis Talonflame, Deanda's Hawlucha, and AZ Sigilus. Raichu shows promise in the Kalos region, with a lot of type-neutral matchups and important effective matchups. I will personally approve of Raichu in Kalos. It probably isn't the best electric type in the region, but with your early access to Pikachu and early access to Thunderstone, you'll have a fast and hard-hitting special attacker throughout the entire game, which is great. From Kalos, we return to Hoenn in the Generation 3 remix of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. In these games, however, Raichu does not have the luxury of being obtained super early like in the most games in the franchise. Pikachu can be found in the Hoenn Safari Zone, which is after the 6th gym. That leaves you with Raichu for taking Liza, Wallace, Team Aqua and Magma, Kyogre and Groudon, Elite Four, and Stevie. Of those battles, Raichu can only help you with Wallace, Arcus Crobat, and Mega Sharpedo, Nexus Crobat, Promo Kyogre if you want to knock it out, Sydney Sharpedo, Glacius Walrein, and Steven Skarmory. Overall, Raichu just shows that from the point you get access to it, the most important set of battles for it has already been had. And when you can get access to Electric and Manectric so much earlier in Hoenn, Raichu will not be getting the approval from me in Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. It's just too far late in the game to take it up in exchange for not too much payoff. With Generation 6 done and dusted, we move on to Generation 7, with Pokemon Sun and Moon. In Alola, we can find Pikachu on Route 1 as an SOS encounter. This goes back to one of the best traits in Raichu's favor, being how early it is. Now let's see how well Raichu does in the Alola region. The important thing to look at when discussing Raichu in the Alola region is the regional electric typing variant. The second typing will help Raichu out a lot in this region. So let's just take a look at how useful Alolan Raichu is in Pokemon Center. Alolan Raichu will help us out with Juana's Trial against Wishiwashi, Galva's Trial against Salazzle, Togekimoo, Flamaria's team, Guzma's Masquerain and Gliscopod, Lucine's Milotic and Beware, Gladium's Crobat and Savali Water, Howl's Vaporeon or Primarina, Hollis team in the Elite Four, Olivia's Relicanth, Hazel's Drifblood, all of Piggywee's team, and Kukui's Braviary and Primarina, depending on who you chose what. As you can see, Alolan Raichu has two key factors to vastly improve Raichu from its Cantonian part. Adding that second typing allows Raichu to help in a vast amount of battles where it normally wouldn't do too great. There's also the bonus with a higher special attack step in Cantonian Raichu. It's able to help with more damage even in neutral matchups. Overall, I'd say that Alolan Raichu absolutely gets an approval for me in the Pokemon Center games. Now, things might be a bit different for Raichu in Ultra Sun and Moon. With a more expanded upon version of Sun and Moon, Raichu will go through more battles and cover battles. So let's see how this stacks up. First of all, Alolan Raichu maintains its benefit of being an SOS encounter on Route 1 as a Pikachu. Step 1 of being obtained super early is in the back. Unfortunately, the second Sun and Moon, Alolan Raichu will not be much help on Melee Island, but that changes on a call action. First trial is Lama's trial against Rakuten. It does, however, have a whacking berry for electric attacks, but beyond the first hit, you'll be good for Rakuten. Next trial is Kiawe's Fire Trial, where Salazzle has been replaced by a Lightning Run alone from Marowak, which takes away Raichu's usefulness in this trial. And from that point forward, Raichu won't be as helpful for a while. From that point forward, Raichu will be most useful against Team Skull. A lot of our members have Poison types, which is very good for Psychic type alone Raichu. Above the fronts, Raichu will also help the Pulmarius team use his Masquerain and Gliscod, which means Milotic and Beware. From Komodo, one is Cloister and Araquanid in Ultra Moon. Kiawe's Talonflame, Gladian's Crobat, Savali Water features one, April's Driftwood, Healy's entire team, and has Vaporeon for Primarina and Crabominable. As you can see, Alolan Raichu is significantly less useful in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. That is just how it is sometimes. We do still have early access to Raichu, however, being one of the great qualities. However, when that is said and done, Raichu just doesn't help out that much in Ultra Sun and Moon. Personally, I will not approve of Alolan Raichu in Ultra Sun and Moon. Unleash the fine strengths. Raichu and Let's Go is pretty much the same as the other Panther games. I approve it because of how early you get it. The battles are also more or less the same too, so I'm not going to waste much time here. It's just going to be the same repetitive stuff I've been saying for Kanto. Over to our last game, currently we have Pokemon Sword and Shield. We're going to find Pikachu as early as Route 4, section of the first part of the wild area, on the way to Moscow. With the Thunderstone intact, you can now have access to Raichu whenever you want. Although if you can't find TR08 Thunderbolt, I personally would wait until level 36, because that's when Pikachu learns Thunderbolt. As for the usefulness of Raichu and Pokemon Sword and Shield battles, Raichu will be able to aid you with Nessa's entire team, Gordy's Barbarical, or Melanie's Lapras, depending on which version you get, Hop's Corviknight and Inteleon, Oleana's Milotic, Nessa's championship team except for Quagsire, unless you have TR77 Grassnot, Beast Solution, Sword, and Liam's Charizard. If we do consider Grassnot and Raichu's moveset, it'll help further with Alice's Yamask, Gordy's Stone Journer, Rhyhorn's Gigalith and Sandaconda, and Leon's Seismitoad or Rhyperior. As you can clearly see, Raichu shows promise in the Galar region, but personally, I feel like it's not enough. The battles where Raichu are useful are a bit too rare, so after going over it, I don't think Raichu is getting my approval in Galar. Raichu does have a versatile move pool, but for its in-game playthrough, it requires a bit too much grinding when there are better options in the game. Looking over Raichu's viability in all games, we can see that one of its biggest benefits is that Pikachu is usually found really early in games, which gives you Raichu from the start. But in the games where Pikachu is found late, like in Gen 3, it's just not worth it. And as we get new generation, the new Pokemon games have just came out, and everyone is super excited to be able to play them and talk about them. I knew as a diehard Pokemon Let's Go fan, I needed a place where I could fanboy about these games. Until now, I was fanboying by myself. Then I discovered Pokemon Let's Go Meetup, with the amazing features and friendly community it has to offer. With Pokemon Let's Go Meetup, you can see everything Pokemon Let's Go related, like tips and tricks on how to beat the games like these Let's Plays, personal blogs, fan art, public chat rooms, user polls, shiny Pokemon collections, and even Pokemon quizzes about facts and trivia, like this one, testing your knowledge about Let's Go. There's even a featured feed where you can see all the latest posts from all sorts of users. That way you can get connected and see stuff you like. You too can get involved with the hype that is Pokemon Let's Go with the Vino, and participate in all these wonderful activities they have to offer. In fact, I'm on there too. I even have a poll that you guys can vote on about today's best team. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download Amino for free, and also be sure to find my username in the description, drop me a follow. There are so many fantastic features and people in the Let's Go Amino community. Sign up today and begin your Let's Go journey. Look at these comments. Gosh, you guys are impatient sometimes. But it's finally here. Yes, the best team for Let's Go Pikachu. I'm also gonna say, I'm super impressed with these games. The mechanics, the catching system, everything about it. And with there being only cancer Pokemon, I hate to say it, but I think making a best team is actually easier. Though it is easier to create, I could make this team without the best starter guy.
Mystic, you do know I don't just do best starter on my channel, right? I have other things too.
Top 5 reasons why you shouldn't watch Raizo. Also, don't forget to make your top 5s 13 minutes long, so you can maximize that ad revenue.
Wow, rude. But anyways, yeah, we did the best starter for Let's Go on my channel, so if you guys want to check that out, click the iCard link on the right to go see it, and once you're done, come back here to see the full best team. Over there, we give a full explanation and reasoning as to why we are going to use this specific starter for the best team, so you might want to go check that out first.
Cutting straight to the chase, the best team is a team of 6 Pokemon that is designed for the absolute best performance for its set Pokemon game. The team revolves around a best starter choice, and is then made into a team revolving do well against certain gym leaders, the Elite Four members, Champion, Rival, and Eagle team leaders. In the end, we have the team that does well against all the important battles in the game. As a bonus, we're going to be including, just like in the starter video, Red and Green. Red and Green are both very important characters regardless of if they're post-game or not. I think it would be a dishonor to not include them. As far as the rest of the post-game goes for rematches or master trainers, we will not be including them. I will be including Blue, but only his Silk Hill encounter. If I did his rematch team, I would have to do all the gym leader and Elite Four rematches. When making this team, we also provide movesets for each of the Pokemon. We include TM moves, but we do not allow egg moves in our post-game tournaments. But in this game, egg moves don't exist, which is crazy, and the majority of the moves in this game are new, especially for Eevee. So we're going to be including those as long as they're not for this game. Alright, so that's pretty much what our best team is. Let's hop right into this best Let's Go team.
Alright, so this is your final warning for anyone who hasn't seen the best starter video and doesn't want to be spoiled on who it is, because now we're going to be talking about it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The best starter for Let's Go is Eevee. Again, we've already explained it over on my channel as to why Eevee is the best starter, so we're really not going to get into any details here to waste any more time. For the purpose of this video though, all there is to say is that Eevee is the best of the two. And what's great about Eevee is the fact that it gets access to so many great moves that it can really function however you want it to be. And stat-wise, we really like the fact that it's well-rounded, at least as much as it can be for a pre-evolution. So Eevee's role on the team is just to help cover even further.
Alright, I know I said everything is explained in the best starter video over on Horizos, but I can at least provide a moveset. Eevee's final moveset I think should be Fuzzy Buzz, Facade, Double Edge, Batty Bad, and Sparkly Swirl or Bouncy Bubble. Fuzzy Buzz is a tutor move that can be taught to Eevee as early as the Cerulean Pokemon Center and can be taught at any other tutor location in the game once those locations are discovered. Facade can be taught on a run. Set for a Master Trainer. And if you want extra power, Double Edge can be an option, just beware of recoil damage. Batty Bag can be found in Celadon City. Sparkly Swirl can be found in Huge Shot, and Bouncy Bubble can be found in Cerulean. And like Fuzzy Buzz, it can be rewarded anywhere. In terms of either Sparkly Swirl or Bouncy Bubble, it all comes down to personal preference. Do you want coverage for fighting Pokemon and Lance One Dragon, or do you want Bouncy Bubble for rock or ground coverage? It all comes down to your personal preference. I prefer Sparkly Swirl. Alright, that's it for me. Let's move on to the other members of this team.
Now let's move on to the very first Pokemon you are meant to catch, and this Pokemon you can actually get very early on in the game, Route 22 to be exact, and that is Nidoran Male. This Pokemon is honestly one of the most versatile and just all-around great Pokemon in the game. It sucks that Sheer Force is no longer a thing, but Nidoking can still do bits in this game, being by far the best ground type, at least for in-game. You can pick it up very early on in the games, can fully evolve it as soon as Mount Moon, and has a very vast move pool. I mean, there's Ice Beam, Brick Break, Superpower, the Elemental Punches, Earthquake, Poison Jab, Outrage, Mega Horn. There's just a lot of moves to work with here. And as for stats, it's not particularly great at anything, but can function well in many different roles, which is a perfect stat line to fit this move pool.
As for movesets, there is so much to offer here, especially with it being a Generation 7. Now we have a lot to mess with. The final moveset I recommend for Nidoking is Poison Jab, Earthquake, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. Poison Jab is there for obvious stab, and that can be learned to level 38. Or you can get the TM for it in Celadon City by searching across a small patch of water. An NPC gives it to you. Ice Beam can be found in the Seafoam Islands on the 3rd floor, and it provides coverage for a lot of different Pokemon. Earthquake can be obtained from Giovanni once you beat him, but for an early ground set move, you can teach it Drill Run for the time being. You can get Drill Run from an NPC in Route 17. The battle for that trainer isn't too tough. Dig is also a move you can get before Drill before Lieutenant Surge. After you beat Misty, you already have a fully evolved Pokemon with 80 base power attack. That's very solid. Earlier moves you can get to the Nidoran line are Double Kick and possibly Horn Attack. Double Kick can also be handy against Brock if you don't feel like using Eevee.
With all of these moves, the Nidoking line does great against Brock, Surge, Koga aside from Venomoth, Blaine, Giovanni and Lorelei, but I don't really recommend it. Bruno's Onyx and Polygrass for Thunderbolt, but that's kind of risky. Agatha, Lance, but be careful of Gyarados. Trace's Raichu, Rapidash, and Pidgeot. Team Rocket, which is especially important because of the poison type. Archer, Jesse and James, red Arcanine Pikachu, and of course, green Gengar. So you can see this Pokemon is definitely worth having.
Coming into the third slot of our team, welcome back, best starter for Kanto, Fire Leaf Green Venusaur. I love Venusaur and everything it stands for. It is my favorite Kanto starter and it's just utterly adorable. This time in Kanto 2, he gets a Mega Evolve stage. And let me just say, it's a monster once it gets into the Elite Four. Prior to that, I think Venusaur is the best grass Pokemon you can get in the entire game. And with it already having an impressive Kanto track record from the previous Kanto Dust team, I think you guys already know how well it does. Grass Pokemon do pretty well in Kanto, as a lot of trainers use Rocky Ground as Pokemon. Venusaur also has the power to be both a monster or defensive attacking beast. You can run Leech Seed, Toxic, Earthquake, Sword Stance, Mega Drain, Sludge Bomb. It's just a lot of fun to run on Venusaur. It's got the stats to take on any role, and it's just an overall great grass Pokemon and the best Kanto starter.
So move-wise for Venusaur, early on you get Mindless, which big picture is very doable. From there, you can also learn its first move we are permanently keeping on Venusaur, which is Leech Seed. We feel this is a great move for Venusaur due to the bulk it has, and it can just sap away little bits of health from the opponent. There's also, of course, the powder moves like Poison Powder and Sleep Powder, but I recommend Poison Powder early on because I prefer crippling and draining HP to just making a Pokemon sleep. From there, Venusaur doesn't really learn that many great moves by level up. I mean, there's Petal Dance, but I genuinely don't like that move just because you get locked into it and confused. But Venusaur does get some good TM moves, which leads us to the other three moves we are putting on Venusaur, which are Mega Drain, Sludge Bomb, and Toxic. Mega Drain is great because it got a buff in Let's Go from 40 to 75, and it still gets back HP as well. It's also really easy to find because you get it as soon as you beat the 4th gym. Sludge Bomb and Toxic, on the other hand, are both kind of late game, from beating Koga and Cinnabar Mansion respectively. So until you get to those points in the game, I guess I can just recommend you running Takedown and Poison Powder.
With all these moves, Venusaur is great against Brock, Misty, Giovanni's Rhyhorn and Rhydon, Moralized Team. I did the calcs for Mega Venusaur. It can take hits from both Slowbro and Lapras. So don't worry, Mega Venusaur will be fine with Mega Drain. It can safely 2-hit KO Slowbro members. You're fine. Other Pokemon as well against are Bruno's Onix, Trace's Marowak and Slowbro, Green's Blastoise and Clefable, and Red's Lapras. One other note to add is that Leech Seed and Toxic can really dent Red's Snorlax, as that thing is super fat. I get it has rest, but still, getting a Leech Seed off is nice, and if he is a bad NPC and decides to not use rest, then more power to you.
Next up we have the
No, I want to go with these Ninetales. Those are my top 5 favorites. So that's me said.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so I hate to cut off Horizon like that, but if you guys have seen any of my videos, 2 of my favorite Pokemon you know are Vulpix and Ninetales. Vulpix can be found right after Cerulean City, right below on Route 5. I will admit that Ninetales isn't the best for Let's Go. I will 100% agree that Arcanine is for fire types. The problem is with Arcanine is that it's version exclusive Pikachu. Hold it there, commenter. Don't type what I think you're gonna type. Yes, you can get Arcanine as the right Pokemon from an NPC in Cerulean City. I'm fully aware. The problem with that is, Arcanine can't get Flamethrower level up, nor can it get any other fire moves other than Ember. Flamethrower is a TM, but you don't get that TM until Self-Go. At that point in the game, fire Pokemon really aren't as useful as they are in the early game. Ninetales is on the team because we needed filler in all honesty. A fire Pokemon team provides better filler rather than an ice type Pokemon or a fire type Pokemon. Plus, with that being said, I don't want any more weaknesses on the team now. We don't need any more psychic weaknesses or ice type weaknesses.
Well, for moves, it's really simple what we wanted Ninetales for, and that's for all of the powerful fire type moves. So, of course, what you need to have is either Flamethrower or Fire Blast. But for this specific team, we think accuracy should go over power. You do have to wait a bit to get it around to level 24, which should be after Rock Tunnel, so it's actually a perfect time, as it's right before you battle Erica. Will-O-Wisp is also a great move to have, since Burn has physical attacks and deals damage every turn. And you can also get it as soon as 17, which should be right as you catch it on Route 5. Besides that, there really isn't much else to learn through level up, as Vulpix doesn't learn anything worthwhile after Flamethrower, and Ninetales doesn't learn anything period. But for TMs, there are some nice moves it can get access to, the best of them being Dark Pulse, which is located in the Rocket Hideout, and Calm Mind, which you can get from Sabrina. I actually prefer to have Nasty Plot, but the move relearner isn't until the end of the game, so Calm Mind will just have to do until then. So Solar Beam is also another option if you want, but having to power it up for 2 turns would just be a hindrance to Ninetales.
With all these moves, Ninetales is great against Erica, Sabrina, Polarized Jinx, Agatha's Gengar, Blue's Executor, Trace's Vile Form and Slowbro, be careful, Korean's Victory Bell, and Red's Venusaur.
Alright, now for the penultimate Pokemon on this best team for Let's Go, we decided to go with a Pokemon that can really counter Psychic types, as they are one of the strongest types in the game. And well, since we are playing Eevee, why not run the best possible non-Mega Bug type in this game? Pinsir. It's great because this Pokemon comes right before you face Sabrina. Actually, full gym before it on Route 14. Although it is a 1% encounter rate, once you get the chain going and the lure up, it should be much easier to find. And as for moves, it's not fast, but has all the important moves that you need, such as X-Scissors, Swords Dance, Superpower, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Outrage. Just powerful physical attacks is all you need. And as for stats, sure, it's not the greatest. I wish the speed was up a bit, but base 100 defense and 125 attack is nothing to sneeze at.
Moves with Pinsir is actually quite fun, as I don't think we have used a lot of bug Pokemon in a best team before. Its moveset consists of X-Scissor, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Swords Dance. X-Scissor Pinsir gets a level 20, and it's Pinsir's basic stat attack. Rock Slide is here for coverage, and that can be done instead of the Cinnabar Mantis. Earthquake is a must-have coverage attack for Fire-type Pokemon. This don't use it against flames, you will not be out. Swords Dance can learn via level up to level 32, and to be honest, Swords Dance can help Pinsir sweep teams. Pinsir isn't exactly our MVP, but it is a powerful asset, especially in Swords Dance. With that move, Pinsir should be able to carry to new places.
Now with all these moves that Pinsir gets access to, the most effective people to use it on are Sabrina, Lorelei's Dixie Slowbro, Bruno's Onix, Agatha, Trace's Raichu, Vileplume and Slowbro, Blue's Executor, Red's Venusaur Pikachu, and Green's Gengar and Victory Bell. So basically, Pinsir isn't going to be the most widely used Pokemon on the team, but it provides a very important check to Psychic types.
Lastly on our team, we have one of the best Team for Kanto superstars, Starmie. I swear, I'm too good at these puns. Now, Starmie is our designated water type and psychic type. It fills a role for our needs of a poison Pokemon killer, rather than having to rely on Nidoking for all the work. Starmie's water typing isn't heavily needed due to Venusaur, but I mean, hey, a water type Pokemon isn't terrible to have. Plus, you can ride on Starmie, and it just looks super silly. This star Pokemon has a super wide pool to pick from, as it always has, and special attack and speed are off the charts, and I think I can say it's one of the best special attacking Pokemon in the game. Alakazam, I'm gonna admit, is one of the best Pokemon in the game, but we can't use it because of Trade Evolutions. I have used Trade Evolution Pokemon before, but you guys have gotten upset about it. A lot of people don't have access to the Nintendo Switch's internet subscription, so Starmie's gonna have to suffice. If you want to use Alakazam, that is 100% fine if you're up for trading. All I can provide a moveset for Alakazam: Psychic, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, and Combine. Psychic you get via level up, Shadow Ball you get from the Celadon Department Store, Thunderbolt you get from Surge, and Combine you get from Sabrina. Starmie is here for people that do not want to trade though, and I can say it's the best option if you're not using Alakazam. Plus I like Starmie because it can heavily help out against flames.
Unfortunately, in these games, Starmie doesn't have the coverage of a Pokemon like Alakazam with moves like Shadow Ball, but as a special sleeper, this Pokemon is definitely one of the best to use. And being that this is a late game Pokemon to get, you won't really have any time to develop this Pokemon level-wise, but that's okay, because most of the moves that we are going to be using on this Pokemon will most likely already have access to. At level 36, you get Psychic, which is a must-have for this Pokemon, but you can also grab that TM and Saffron as well. From there, we are going to be using Scald and Thunderbolt, which are both obtained through gym leaders, and then Ice Beam is right next to Starmie at Z-Foam. So this moveset is really easy to get since basically you already have everything.
With these moves, Starmie is great against Koga, Sabrina Slowbro, Blaine, Giovanni's entire team unlike Venusaur, Lorelei's water types, Bruno's entire team, Agatha's team, Archer's poison types and Magmar, Green's Gengar, Blastoise and Victory Bell, be careful, and finally Red's Arcanine, Lapras and Venusaur, be careful with Venusaur. pretty much wraps up the best team for Let's Go Pikachu memes. I know I say best team for both games, because technically this is the actual best team for both games, as Eevee is the best starter and Eevee is the best game to play. So Rise and I are showcasing you the best game to play. I know a lot of you guys are going to be asking, are you doing Pikachu? And the answer is, you'll have to find out. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But yeah, that was the best team for Let's Go. I hope you guys did enjoy the team, as it was a lot of work to create. Also, big thank you to Eliza for helping me out.
No problem, man. I just wasted my entire day, then I can't get back to 8:50. Nah, I'm just kidding. But it was really fun being a part of this again, and if you guys still haven't seen the best starter for Let's Go on my channel, well, it's kind of a bit too late now. But hey, you can at least still find the reasonings there, and maybe watch some other videos, you know? Let me take my rent and all that.
Amen to that. But if you're new to the channel, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel, notifications on. That way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further.
You like to know your score, but do you know your health quotient score? Find out with the comprehensive health profile from Quest, which calculates your score using select lab test results, a health risk assessment, and biometric screen. So get started today.
It's that time for Christmas cheer, and Pikachu and friends are ready to celebrate the holidays with you. Show off their Christmas spirit with a limited edition Let's Go Celebrate the Holidays t-shirts and hoodies. Get them before we head back to the North Pole on January 2nd. Yesterday I said I may or may not do the best team Pikachu. I was kidding. Of course I may do the best team Pikachu. How could I not? Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu have two completely different starters and have a range of different Pokemon that can be used. You guys will see that in the team for Pikachu. It will be semi-different. Pikachu isn't nearly as good as Eevee though, so that's why it is the second best team Pikachu. I actually haven't played Let's Go Pikachu. I've only played Eevee. So I think this will be an interesting team to use as I get to see both sides. Alright, let's hop into what a best team is going to use. Getting straight to the chase, a best team is a team of 6 Pokemon that is designed for the absolute best performance for a said Pokemon team. The team revolves around the best starter choice and is then made into a team revolving around that said best starter. Pikachu, however, isn't the best starter. And if you want to know why, check out the video we did on Horizon's channel where we mentioned how good Pikachu and Eevee both are for their respective teams. We are just making a team to revolve around Pikachu to complete the duo of games. Each team member is designed to do well against certain gym leaders, healing core members, champion, rival, and the evil team leaders. In the end, we have a team that does well against all the most important battles in the game. As a bonus, we are going to be including, just like in the starter video and the previous best team, Red and Green. Red and Green are both very important characters, regardless of if they're post-game or not. I think it would be a dishonor to not include them. Like Eevee for Red, you have to beat 6 Master Trainers in order to face them. Use these 6 Pokemon to take on Master Trainers or any other Pokemon you want to use against the Master Trainers. This isn't a Master Trainer guide though. There are guides out there I'm sure you can find for Master Trainers. As far as the rest of the post-game goes for rematches or Master Trainers, we will not be including them. I will be including Blue, but only his self-kill encounter. If I did his rematch team, I would have to do all the Gym Leader and Elite 4 rematches. When making this team, we also provide movesets for each of the Pokemon. We include Tandem, but we do not allow egg moves from this team. But in this game, egg moves do not exist, so it's pretty crazy. And the majority of the moves in this game are G moves. The pure moves honestly really don't even matter. Unless you're talking about Pikachu specifically, getting moves like Floaty Fall and Swish Splash. Alright, that's pretty much what a best team is. Let's hop right into this best Let's Go Pikachu team. Starting off this team is the starter Pikachu. Just like what Arizo and I said about Pikachu, we mentioned how good and bad Pikachu was as well. You can click the icon to Arizo's best starter video for an entire bio on Pikachu, and it includes the trainers it does well against and bad against. I will, however, provide Pikachu with Eevee set. Pikachu, like Eevee, gets some nice coverage packs, but of course the move pool isn't as wide. However, Pikachu still gets fun moves to use. The moves we decided to use for Pikachu are Thunderbolt, Floaty Fall, Swish Splash, and Iron Tail. Thunderbolt is Pikachu's main stat power, and it can get that as early as level 21. Swishy Splash can be taught to Pikachu at a Pokemon Center in Pikachu City. Floaty Fall can be taught from a tutor in Celadon City, and Iron Tail can be bought from Celadon City Department Store. That's all I'm pretty much going to say about Pikachu. Once it has started, you won't Oh, one more small thing we forgot to mention in the best starter though, Pikachu can use Iron Tail on Sabrina's Mr. Mime. Coming into the number 2 spot, who else could it be than one of the most recurring Pokemon in the series, Nidoking. Honestly, this shouldn't be that much of a surprise to me, as Nidoking is one of the most powerful veterans we have. It's got pretty solid stats, having 1 to 2 in attack, pretty decent defensive, and not bad speed at 85. And as always, its move pool is nice and clean. the Nidoking right away with a Moonstone. You can get a Moonstone fairly early as well, meaning it now in a crater. I think this is like the 5th time I've said something like this, and I'll continue to do it until Nidoking isn't in the game anymore. Now for a moveset, we have the same moveset as the last best teams, being Poison Jab, Earthquake, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam. The Poison Jab TM can be obtained in Celadon City from the man with the pawn in front of the house, so you'll need to get the C-Skim technique from Fusion first. It can be learned by hearing a VL level up at 39, however, I think it's best to evolve it in Nidoking as soon as possible. However, the choice is up to you. If you choose to follow my advice and wait for the TM, then just use Poison Sting until then, or you can use moves like Peck or Horn Attack. Moving on, the Earthquake TM is given to you after you beat Giovanni at the Breed Stage TM. Until then, just use Dig and then upgrade to Drill Run. The Dig TM is given to you by the Rocky Grant at the Spring House in Cerulean City, and Drill Run is given to you after you get the Coach Turn on Route 17. Next is Thunderbolt, which is given to you after beating Lieutenant Surge. And lastly, we have Ice Beam, which can be found at the Steeple Island on the 3rd floor of the game stack. With this moveset, Nidoking can do well against Lieutenant Surge's team, Koga's team except for Lieutenant Moss. Flame's team, Giovanni's team is be careful. Bruno's Polygraph with Thunderbolt, Agatha's team, Lance's team with Thunderbolt and Ice Beam. Be careful. Siege right here is Slaughter's next. Trace's team is set from Mariline, Jesse and David's Arbok and Weezing, Archer's team, Green's team is set from Tankstar, and finally Red's team, Cute Arcanine and Venus. Yeah, as always, Nidoking puts in a lot of work, which is why it'll always find its way onto the Kanto Best team. I mentioned in the best team for PvP that Arcanine is the 100% best fire Pokemon in the Let's Go series. So here it is for its Kanto debut on the best team for PvP. Growlithe can be found as early as Route 5, which is right below Cerulean City. There's also a Firestone and a patch of grass right outside of Lavender Town. Simply cut down a tree and the Firestone is right there. Or if you want another one, you can always buy one from the Celadon department store. Personally, when it comes to evolving Growlithe and Arcanine, I would wait until level 28 when it gets crunched. Plus, by the time you have access to the Firestone, I think Growlithe should already be level 28 regardless. Arcanine is such a great Pokemon. It's got great stats all around, and has a really fun move pool. There are other fire Pokemon like Charizard and Magmar, and Arcanine is just so much better. Charizard gets Flamethrower too late, and Air Slash is learned at level 62. Magmar is too late game. The earliest it is found is at the Singapore Mansion. Fire Pokemon aren't all that great in Kanto, but Arcanine is still a powerful asset in its best team. And like I mentioned with Eevee's best team, I'd rather have a fire Pokemon than a fighting Pokemon or an ice type. Plus, other members have fighting type attacks and ice attacks. Arcanine is great, and I think you guys will think so too, especially for this team. Arcanine's moveset is so vivid with its move pool, so you have a lot of different options. But I think this moveset is the best. Those moves consist of Flamethrower / Flare Blitz, Crunch, Flare Up, and Superpower. Flamethrower can be learned by Growlithe at level 17, and Flare Blitz can be learned at level 38. I don't think you want to keep Growlithe that long though, and like I always mentioned with Flare Blitz, the recoil damage can stack up. That's why I prefer Flamethrower. I like Crunch because it provides Ghost and Psychic coverage. A hard-hitting physical Dark Attack really tears Psychic Pokemon and Ghost types up in this game, because they are so dang frail. Crunch can also be learned at level 28. Flare Up is really fun to have and to use against fighting types, and I think it's one of the best coverage moves Arcanine can personally get. That's why Arcanine has Flare Up. Lastly, Superpower is really late game, but it can provide you help against those bulky normal Pokemon. Superpower is a late game TM, can be found in Victory Road. Earlier moves for the Arcanine line are Ember, Dig, and Iron Tail. With all these moves and earlier moves, Arcanine is great against Lieutenant Surge with Dig, Erica. By the time you get to Koga, I would replace it with Iron Tail if you want. And with that being said, Iron Tail is great against Sabrina's Distant Mind, and Crunch can decimate the rest of the team. Blue's Executor, Lorelai's Jinx, Bruno's Fighting types of Flare Up is where you click on the team. Don't use Arcanine and Onyx, that's a bad idea. Agatha's Gengar of Crunch, Lance's Dragonite of Flare Up, Trace's Vileplume and Slowbro of Crunch. Be careful. Green's Victory Bell, Gengar of Crunch, and Kango's Superpower. And finally, Red's Venusaur, Snorlax, and Lapras' Superpower. But just be wary of both this Pokemon, especially Snorlax because of super stats. And also Lapras' Water type, so watch out for that as well. Coming into the number 4 spot, we have yet another veteran to the best team series in Snorlax. As always, Snorlax is our bulky normal type right mode. So in reality, you can choose whatever moves you like with Snorlax. However, I will still offer you a moveset that I feel is the best for this team. First off, where to get Snorlax is pretty obvious. You can get a Snorlax in either Route 12 or 16. You're only able to wake Snorlax up after Mr. Fuji gives you the Pokemon Lavender Town. So I would just go for the one on Route 12 as it'll be right there. However, I would recommend getting them both out of the way because it just looks cool. Now Snorlax will need a tiny bit of grinding up, and really doesn't show its true potential until they leave 4 this time around. But it's still a super good Pokemon regardless. Moving on to the moveset, we have Body Slam, Brick Break, Fire Punch, and Ice Punch. Body Slam is a level up move, learned at level 52. So until then, just use Head Wrap, which Snorlax already has in it by the time you catch it. For Brick Break, you get that TM from the Coach Trainer outside of the Rock Tunnel. Fire Punch's team is obtained from the coach turn on Route 15, so you can choose to either take the long way to get it or wait until Fusion City. However, I would say tough it out so you can get Fire Punch earlier for Erica. And finally, for Ice Punch, you get that from the coach turn on Route 21. With this moveset, Solex is well against Erica's team if you decide to get Fire Punch beforehand. Koga's Golbat and Venomon, Sabrina's Golbat, Lance's Arigato and Dragon, Trace's Pit Shot, Final Plume and Airline, Archer's Golbat, Green's Victorville and Kangaskhan, and finally Red's Lapras, Stellax, and Venusaur. As I said earlier, Stellax is a variety Pokemon, so you can choose to do whatever you want with it. And it really does seem, no matter what you do with it, that it will always be a super valuable member to the team. I am proud to announce we get to use another bug-type Pokemon on the best team. And this time, for Let's Go Pikachu, we get to use Cypher. Cypher can be found on Route 14 at the earliest, right below Lavender Town in Snorlax. Cypher is a 1% counter rate, but if you use a lure and a decent amount of attack combo, it should be super simple to get. I have used Scizor before in the previous test team, and it was fun to use. However, this time with no trade evolutions, no Generation 2 Pokemon, we get to see Cypher shine all on its own. Cypher is a bug.
I'll also be using nail polish, a bottle of champagne, and a box of chocolate. Boom. Because I'm keeping it casual.
Plug-in Flames at Mage's Pokemon with great speed and attack. With it getting a solid bug stab with X-Scissor, it makes Cypher that much more powerful than Ally. Cypher Generation 7 is just a lot better than it ever was in any previous game for them. Let me explain why we are primarily using Cypher as well. We need a Pokemon for second attacks. Just like for EVP's Pinsir, and Let's Go Pikachu, we get to use Cypher, which I think is a little bit better than Pinsir. It makes to a Pinsir's Mega that only gets posted. Gengar is off limits because of Trade Evolution, so that chick is gone. Alakazam with Shadow Ball is gone too because of Trade Evolution. Pokemon have Crunch, sure, but I would rather have a specific typing of a Psychic rather than relying on a coverage attack. I want a primary Pokemon to take care of Psychic Pokemon, and Cypher I feel does the job best in this game if you exclude Gengar and Alakazam and Shadow Ball. I want a primary Pokemon to take care of Psychic Pokemon, and Cypher I feel does the job best in this game. I know that Alolan Muk is also another option, but I prefer Cypher because it just has speed. I think you guys are going to have fun using this Mantis, as it does incredibly well in my opinion. Cypher doesn't exactly have a fantastic lead pull, but here's what we can run. X-Scissor, Wing Attack, Brick Break, and Sword Spin. X-Scissor can be learned at level 41, but it can be done as a TM earlier, right below left is on that circle. Wing Attack is the best flying attack it can get, and that can be learned by Cypher level 21. Brick Break can be found on Route 10, right before Rockton Ultimate Coaster, and that can provide coverage for Cypher's rock use. Sword Stance can be learned at level 44, and it's super handy to have this attack. You can swoop a lot of trainers with that combo in Cypher. Level 44 can be a bit higher for an attack, I know, so I guess a move you can use in the meantime is Slash. It has 70 base power with a high crit rate. Slash can be learned at level 26. With all these moves, Cypher obliterates Sabrina's team. You can also use Brick Brick for Mr. Mime's screen settings as well. Giovanni's Rhydon, I won't do that though. Lou's Executor, well, my second Pokemon. Bruno's fighting types, just be wary of some of his coverage attacks. Trace's Vileplume and Slowbro. Green's Victorville and Kanga is left for the Thunder Punch, and Red's Machamp can be careful of Fire Blast. Why does Machamp even have this? Lapras, be careful. Snorlax and Venusaur. Lastly, just like in the Eevee Best team, welcome back, Superstar Kanto Veteran, Starmie. Starmie can be found on Route 18 and can be evolved with a Water Stone Eevee. Water Stones can be bought and sold on the department store. Starmie, like an Eevee, is our water second Pokemon type special attacker. It's the poison type killer Pokemon, so anything doesn't have to do all the work. Starmie has a super light move pool, giving it access to a great arsenal of moves like Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. Its special attack and speed are super amazing, and in my eyes, it's one of the best special attackers in this entire game. If you don't count the trade evolutions of Alakazam and Gengar. Alakazam is a great Pokemon, but like I mentioned before, it's Cypher, because it's a trade evolution. You guys got mad at me for using trade Pokemon last time, so we're not going to use it. But I guess if you guys want a move set, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, and Calm. Thunderbolt you get from Infinite Surge, Psychic is a level 1 move, Shadow Ball you get from the Sold Out Department Store, and Calm you get from Sabrina. But yeah, Starmie is a great replacement for Alakazam and Gengar, plus it comes with a lot of different ways. Starmie's moveset is super easy, as it's the same moveset we use for the Eevee Best. That moveset is Skull, Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam. Skull can be obtained if reduced the after the future. Psychic is on story when you capture it. If not, it gets at level 36. Thunderbolt you get after beating Surge, and that takes care of other water types with one types. Ice Beam is going for Lance, but I mean, hey, it's a killer attack regardless, and it also provides grass coverage. The team for Ice Beam can be found in the Seafoam Islands in the first floor, like I said earlier. And finally with these moves, Starmie does well against Koga's team, Sabrina's Slowbro, Blaine's team, Giovanni's team. Lorelai's team is set to Jinx and Thunder.
I was still making some trades anyway at Deadline. We like top tier defensemen. They're answering Paul's job.
Archer's Golbat, Magmar, and Weak. Green's Victorville, Ninetales, and Blastoise. And finally, Red's Machamp, Arcanine, Lapras, and Venusaur. Well, that pretty much wraps up the best game series for Let's Go Pikachu. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, this has been so on the workout for both best teams, but as this best starter. So I hope you guys did enjoy this series of best starter and best teams for the Let's Go Pikachu game series. Out of both teams though, which one was your favorite and what team member is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitter. I stream a lot of Pokemon content and Nintendo content like Shiny Hunting, Showdown Battles, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Zelda, and even Fire Emblem. Want to support me further in-cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Fly Jubilee, Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Pal491, Jared Weez Austin, and the Lazy Leo did. And I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world.
Wow, so many hot skills. So hungry. I'm hungry. If I order delivery, I get hot chocolate for it. Even on my busiest days, I also.
Hey guys, hope all is well. I'm starting off this video with a very important announcement. And no, it's not about shirts and it's not about merch. I have a very fun project that I would like to bring back to you guys from the past. Back in the day, I used to do best team Let's Plays. However, I stopped because I didn't want to have gameplay on Missing Up Time. Now though, since I have a gaming channel, we can have gameplay now. Due to this, I am going to be doing Let's Plays for all of the best teams, starting with Best Game for Kanto Remastered, going all the way through to the most current Pokemon game. So if you guys missed those old Best Team Let's Plays, you can experience them again over on Mystic Zora, our new fully branded gaming channel. The link for Mystic Zora and the first episode of the Best Game for Kanto Remastered will be in the description below and in the card above. Okay, that was the announcement. I hope you guys enjoyed this best team, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, so today we've got an interesting best team to bring to you. So, in the past I've never actually done a best team specifically for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Instead, I would just focus on primarily Platinum, or a way to promote all three games in one. We've had Best Game for Sinnoh, and Best Game for Sinnoh Remastered. The Best Game for Sinnoh was a team that involved all three games of Sinnoh, and had Pokemon we could use from all three games. Then I realized Platinum had a lot more to pick from. So then I made the Best Game for Sinnoh Remastered, which involved Platinum only. And for some apparent reason, I could never make up my mind. So today, I wanted to finally wrap up the series that's been on my mind for a while, and I want to do a best team only for Diamond and Pearl. I thought that today would be the best time to finally put out an entry in the series, focused solely on the original 4th generation games, Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl don't offer nearly as much as Platinum does, but surprisingly, a lot of people actually still enjoy the original Diamond and Pearl. So I thought I would make a team specifically for that. For those that are saying I'm running out of ideas, best team, Pokemon that are red and begin with the letter B will be coming out soon. Anyways, jokes aside, I'm going to explain what a best team is real quick. A best team is a team of 6 Pokemon that is designed for the absolute best performance for its set Pokemon game. The team revolves around a best starter, and in this case for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we've got Infernape. Each team member is designed to do well against all the Gym Leaders, Elite Four members, Champion, Rival, and the Evil Team leaders. When it comes to making their movesets, we'll be including TM moves, however we do not allow if moves nor post-game moves. Okay, that's pretty much a synopsis of what a best team is. With that being said, let's hop right into this Diamond and Pearl best team. Well, we've got to get started with the team in the only way you're going to have to, and that is with the best starter of the group in Sinnoh, the flame Pokemon, Infernape. I'm pretty sure we all know it definitely is the best of the group in modern day Pokemon. But even back then, it was still better than the others. Infernape has base 104 in attack and special attack, and a very nice base 108 speed. Infernape is strong and fast. That's really what makes it so great. Again, it gets a lot better in future generations, thanks to a few new moves, and the hidden ability Iron Fist. But in Diamond and Pearl, it works as a great successor to Generation 3's Blaziken as a fighting technique. We'll start off with the Chimchar as your starter. At level 14, you'll end up with a Monferno. And then finally, at level 36, you're going to have yourself that Infernape. Now let's take a look at how useful it'll be when you're going through the Sinnoh region. The moves I've got set up for Infernape to roll with are Close Combat, Flare Blitz, Shadow Claw, and Stone Edge. I've got to say, Flare Blitz and Close Combat are some incredibly awesome physical moves introduced for the fire and fighting types in Generation 4. And it's lucky for Infernape to be able to take advantage of both of those moves. We start with Close Combat, which you'll learn at level 41. And in the meantime, you've got a good priority move on Mach Punch to serve as the fighting type for this spell. Next, we've got Flare Blitz, which is learned at level 57. And it is actually the final level up move that Infernape gets. You can use a myriad of other fire type moves, or wait for level 57 to show up. So take a pick your roll with it. Next is Shadow Claw, otherwise known as King 65. And it's given to you as a reward for winning Battle Zantina. It's great coverage for second types out there, so I thought it'd be good to include. The final move is Stone Edge. An FTM is found within Victory Road, and it is good coverage for any flying type you encounter during your Elite Four challenge. So with these moves, Infernape will be able to do well against Gardenia's entire team, Malian's Lucario, Byron's entire team, Kenneth's entire team, Voltaire's Amphibon, Cyrus's Weavile, Barry's entire team, but watch out with Napoleon, Aaron's entire team except Rivgon, Bertha's Sudowoodo and Golem, but watch out with the latter, all of Flick's Pokemon except this Infernape, Lucian's entire team except Durapare, and finally Cynthia's Roseland and Lucario. As you can see, Infernape is fantastic against the Elite Four, and during a number of gym battles as well. The fact that you can sweep Barry's team with it is pretty awesome too, and it honestly further proves that Infernape is a dominant force. So let's move on to another fantastic Pokemon that came from Sinnoh. The one that I chose as the best regional bird in the video I did a while back that you guys definitely should go check out, Staraptor. This is such a great flying type that really blew Pokemon like Pidgeot, Noctowl, and Swallow out of the water, and set a standard for future early bird Pokemon. Now, to be fair, they dropped the ball a bit with Infested and Toucannon, but Talonflame and Corviknight are all really great Pokemon that are behind Staraptor in greatness. Staraptor is just super good, and I had to include it on this team thanks to how early you get it and how helpful it'll be during your challenge. You can get your hands on Starly right away when you get Pokeballs. And finally, at level 34, you've got a Staraptor with 120 base attack and 100 speed. It's a great flying type to have on your side, and will provide major firepower throughout a Let's Play. The moves that Staraptor has are Fly, Brave, and before you even reach the Elite Four. Fly is an HM, and it's going to help you get around the region, while also offering an extra flying type option if you want to turn to it in battle. You get the HM for that in the Galactic Warehouse, and can use it immediately after being enabled. The next move is Brave, and that will be learned at level 49, and it is the final move Staraptor learns by level up. It's an incredibly strong flying type move that has some recoil, but it's super good. And while you wait to get that, you can always run Aerial Ace, and have a good move to serve as backup until then. Close Combat is next, and man is it absolutely awesome that Staraptor can even get this move. It's one of the big things that really sets it apart from other flying types, as it will tear through rock and ice types, and can hit tons of other typings for great damage. It learns at level 34, so right when you're evolved, you'll have that great move. Finally, we've got Return, a favorite move of mine, and one that provides strong stab damage on a Pokemon that you'll find yourself using throughout your journey. You get the TN for Return and a Watchtower on Route 209. So with these moves, Staraptor will be able to do well against Gardenia's entire team, Malian's Meditite and Machoke, Byron's Steelix and Bastion, Kenneth's entire team, but be real careful, Cyrus's Weavile, Barry's entire team except Rapidash and his Staraptor, Aaron's entire team except Rivgon, Bertha's Sudowoodo and Golem, but be careful, Flick's entire team except for Drifblim and Rapidash, Lucian's Medicham, and finally, Cynthia's Roseland and Lucario. There is a lot of overlap between Infernape and Staraptor's use of this. That flying typing will help make up for a few places Infernape isn't hit for super effective damage. Staraptor is well worth having a spot on this team, and you'll love using it for sure. Alright, so next up, we've got ourselves a water type. And it's a Pokemon I feel used to be really loved, and has become a little overlooked in the past couple generations. It got a Mega and X and Y, but aside from that, nobody ever really talks about Gyarados anymore, it feels like. You can get your hands on a Magikarp super early as you get the old rod into Blight City. You just gotta search some water for a little bit, and you'll roll the Magikarp in no time. You'll probably have to switch train for a while, until finally it hits level 20, and you end up with the powerful Gyarados as a payout for your hard work. Gyarados is a dang solid Pokemon, and it ends up with base 125 attack and 100 special defense. So you will have a specially bulky physical attacker for your journey that can take some hits and slam up some powerful water type damage. Surf, Waterfall, Ice Fang, and Dragon Dance are the 4 moves we've got in Gyarados. And yeah, I know what you might be thinking. Gyarados is a physical attacker, but I've got Surf on here since you're going to need it to get around the region anyway. So you may as well have a somewhat good move on Gyarados, even if it is a special attack. You get the HM for Surf over in Celestic Town from Cynthia's grandmother, so it'll be about halfway through your gym challenge. The next one is Waterfall, and that's a great physical water type move for Gyarados. And it'll be helpful for you as it is an HM, so it's necessary to have. You get that HM from Jasmine and Sunny Shore, which means it'll play a big role in the Elite Four. You'll get Ice Fang at level 32, and it'll work as good coverage for a few different types, like Dragon and Grass. And considering the fact that Gyarados doesn't learn a flying type move at all in Diamond Pro, I think it's a pretty good backup. Finally, we've got Dragon Dance, and it is learned at level 44, and gives Gyarados an attack and speed boost by a stage when used. So it's a nice setup. So with these moves, Gyarados will be able to do well against Fantina's Drifblim, Byron's Steelix and Bastiodon, Cyrus's Honchkrow and Crobat, Barry's Staraptor, Rapidash and Rosemary, Aaron's Vespiquen and Beautifly, Bertha's Golem, So the next Pokemon on this best team is a bit different.
I love how it is. I mean, your gift. Get the perfect Wii gift for you and your family.
Like free? Well, you can get that free trial or with free shipping with the free version of Daily Banking. Now that the Tangerine Chicken.
However, I believe it's good typing and as defenses, earn it a spot on this team. I'm of course talking about the Bronze Ball Pokemon, Bronzong. This big guy reminded me to think outside the box. As often on best teams, I'll shy away from Pokemon that are just incredible defensively. Bronzong boasted base 116 defenses in both physical and special. And while it has awful speed at 33, its attack is actually base 89, which isn't too bad. Now the thing here is that Bronzong is definitely a bit loaded on the special side of its team. But I'm pretty confident I gave it a good enough move set to make it worth including. You also catch your Bronzor on Route 206, which is below the Cycling Road, and thus only available to explore once you've gotten a bite. You'll have Bronzor until level 33, then it'll evolve into Bronzong, and once it does, you'll have a wonderful wall to hide behind attack. The moves that we've got today for Bronzong are Flash Cannon, Psychic, Terra Ball, and Hypnosis. First up, we have Flash Cannon. It's a nice stab move that comes in TM form, and you'll get that TM after you defeat Byron in your 6th stat. Then we have Psychic, which is a move you'll need to find the TM for, but you'll need access to Rock Climb and Rock Smash on Route 211. So while you wait to have yourself set up with those TMs, you can use Extra Sensory, which is learned to level 19. We've got Generative Ball next, and that one is learned to level 38 and takes major advantage of Bronzong's force speed. It's a physical move as well, and Bronzong does have a base 89 attack, so it'll hit rather nicely against Pokemon that are weak to skill types, and even many other Pokemon. Finally, there's Hypnosis, which is going to need to be hard to scale back on in Astoria City. You can find one hidden on Route 212, which is near the Pokemon Mansion. So with these moves, Bronzong will be able to do well against Malian's Macho, Fantinus Gengar, and it's a Snowbird and Abomasnow, Cyrus's Crobat and Weavile, Barry's Heracross and Roserade, Aaron's Dustox and Heracross, Bertha's Sudowoodo and Golem, Flint's Infernape, but be very careful, and Cynthia's Roserade. Bronzong brings much needed defense to this team. And while it isn't offensively the biggest threat in the world, it'll easily be able to come in and take some hits while you get the rest of your team in line during a hard battle. So next up we've got a Pokemon you can actually also get in your Route 206. And I'm of course talking about the pseudo-legendary Garchomp. Now you'll need strength to get into the hidden area of the Wayward Cave under the Cycling Road. And that's an HM you get access to at the Lost Tower, and it's usable after you defeat Byron. And so it'll probably be the last Pokemon to get your hands on. You'll find Dibble at about level 15, so you'll have a bit of training to do with it. It'll eventually evolve into Gavin.
Welcome back. Alright, so a little news video before we get into tonight's games. First off, the Buffalo Sabres, Chicago Blackhawks, had a trade this morning. So we'll talk a little bit about this now. Subban will be joining the Buffalo Sabres to Kurt. He's entered protocol. So Dell's starting tonight. Subban likely then ends up being the starter on Saturday. And here we go. Chicago gets back future considerations. Future considerations has been traded many, many times. I don't think he's going to work out. I don't think he'll ever be an NHLer. I can remember trades in the 80s when he was involved. I'm not sure why he needs to be trading future considerations. But Subban, I think, is a decent pickup for Buffalo. He should be an upgrade over what Dell's provided for so far. And now that I say it's Dell's playing tonight, I'm kind of excited. Alright, yesterday the Toronto Maple Leafs put Semyonov on waivers. Cleared today, and even though waiver didn't do the purpose of terminating his contract so that he can return to the KHL. And this is why with KHL players coming over, it is really all over the place. Even, in LA's case, you got a guy in there from the KHL who plays good for a few games and then down to the AHL. So it really is a crapshoot in terms of which players will move to the KHL next and actually end up playing a lot.
Yeah, so Marion Gabbert's gone, so that's like 4 to 5 mil right there.
Just gonna say, back on the island, nowhere near being ready to play yet.
Trade Con White. He's under have Cobra Betty coming.
Look back at him, the sooner they have a huge headache when it comes to the salary cap, right? So, Eichel returning to the ice is just the beginning, and for Vegas, there's a lot of planning that's going to have to be done as to what's going to happen when he is set to return to action and make the debut and the Vegas goal. But it's good to see that he's back on the ice. It's because he'll be back this week, and it'll be interesting to see how things go for him. We're kind of, hopefully this is not what it looks like. Bowen Byron won't be playing tonight. It's not the body injury. And of course, he was coming back out of the concussion protocol. There was a whole article about him going through the concussion protocol, the issues he's had as a young defenseman in the NHL. I'm really hoping this isn't concussion related. So I'm hoping it's shoulder, I'm hoping it's something else. It's not.
Patterson wants a new extension, huh? He's not bad. I mean, he's not great.
Get through, and again, you hate to see a young player's career end at that too, but man, if there's anything you can do, it's concussion, right? So all the best with Byron, hopefully in fact, hopefully nothing to
Philip is playing excellent so
Nashville
far.
released their stadium. So the New Jersey Devils brought out this jersey that says Jersey, and Nashville decides to make a blue jersey, which is a good idea because their best jerseys have been blue. It has Smashville on the front. Cool. So it looks awful. It looks like something that you might see.
Might give him a long term.
Up here, that you might see on like, oh look, it's Timbit talk. That's what it inspires for me. And you know, after the Winter Classic, I thought, man, a stadium jersey should look really, futuristic.
And I'm gonna give him a 3 year.
Give you an idea of what
extension.
might be. They bring in these style changes.